Hey everybody, Ringside Dreamer here, and this is a review for AEW Dynamite for September 15th, 2021. Now, the show starts off with Punk coming out. He's going to be doing commentary tonight. I always loved when Punk was injured, which is messed up to say. Don't take that out of context. But I just love when Punk was injured in 2010 and he did commentary for a lot of the shows. But he was just so great, especially like during the whole Nexus angle with John Cena, and just his classic lines like, he doesn't even work here anymore. He's like, someone. He's like, John spilled my soda, and I am calling the authorities. So Punk always gets me. He's a great commentator. So if when he decides to hang up the boots for real, the next time, whatever retirement actually means in wrestling, I think he'd be a really good commentator. So he comes out, he dives into the crowd like COVID isn't a real thing, like Punk. Come on. And I just saw him last week. He didn't dive into the crowd. Apparently, Cincinnati's not good enough. People of Cincinnati aren't good enough to dive into the crowd. It starts off with Adam Cole versus Frankie Kazarian. And Frankie takes a really hard spill early in the match, which was hoping it was kind of like a setup for this to be like a really quick match. And then, he took this really hard spill, and then Adam Cole kind of like gets one up on him really quick, and bang boom, we're done. Maybe we could set up for another match down the line. But instead, this is like it's a semi-competitive match, like it's a semi-competitive squash match because it's really a showcase for Adam Cole, baby, as it should be. But Frankie gets enough licks in where it's not. Frankie's not really featured as like that guy. Where I feel like if you're going to be featuring Adam Cole as one of those the top guys, you shouldn't have Frankie K. I love Frankie Kazarian. Don't get me wrong, I love Kazarian, but you shouldn't have him be getting this much offense and doing this much damage to Adam Cole if you're positioning to be him to be that upper echelon of talent. Um, but sometimes AEW does that, and I just wish it wasn't as competitive as a match as it was. He gets on the mic, and challenges Christian Cage and the Jurassic Express for next week against him and the Young Bucks, the Super Click. You know, decent. He's always decent on the mic. It's not his strong suit, but I guess the streaming probably helps him be able to talk on the fly, and I like it. Next is a vignette of the Lucha Brothers. They're going to be facing the Butcher and the Blade. We'll see how this match goes. They used to be on a team, and now they're not, and it kind of just came out of nowhere. I think there could be a lot more build to this, but we'll see how the match is. After that, we have another backstage segment with Tony Schiavone, Sammy Guevara, and Fuego del Sol. Fuego and Sammy are sitting on Fuego's new car because this is what he just got the new car with the contract, and he's like, "Oh well, I'd give this car up to get a shot at the TNT title." Which, bro, you like got smoked for the title. You should probably just be happy that you got the contract and the car. But here comes Sammy Guevara putting the cable. We all got that one friend, friend that wants to always hype somebody up in a situation that they don't need hyped up in. A good friend would have been like, yeah, don't do that. But Sammy Guevara is not really that great of a friend in this moment, and he puts the cables to Fuego pretty hard. And Fuego challenges Miro, puts his car on the line for the TNT title on Rampage. Dude, you're gonna lose, and you're gonna lose so bad, and you're gonna be destroyed, and it's not gonna look pretty. And it's Sammy, you were to blame. This is on you. It's on you for this one. Ridiculous. Not very friendly. After that comes MJF, and here's MJF again proving why he is just the greatest thing that wrestling really has going. Wow. And he coming out and like just talking about all the reasons New Jersey sucks and just that they suck. So they suck as hard as the skanks who live there, Snooki and JWoww, if people get the reference. Um, but then he starts talking to Pillman, talking to Brian Pillman Sr. And I was thinking about this from last week, uh, thinking to myself if this was maybe he was going too far, and but who am I? Like, no, there's no way. Really thinking about it, because Brian Pillman Sr. would be loving every minute of this. I'm sure the performer he was, the what he could have been if he wouldn't have died so young. I'm almost certain that Brian Pillman would have been those pillars of the Attitude Era, but he never got the chance to. And he was pushing the boundaries of not only what a match could be, in the ring, but outside of the ring, the characters, the moments, blurring the line between reality and fiction. Brian Pillman was an innovator of so many things, and I don't think people really give him the props he deserves sometimes. But he deserves all the props in the world, and he could have been a lot bigger than he was. And I think he would have absolutely loved and improved this if he was alive. And like, let's say if he was in the audience, he would have loved every minute of this. And I'm really loving every minute of it. And so, MJF, he acts like he's talking to heaven, and then he's like, "Oh, who am I kidding?" And he's like, then he just looks down and starts talking to hell. Oh my God, like what a heel, what a piece of human garbage. And Pillman's music ends up hitting. You can only stand so much of this. Warlow goes down the ramp, but Pillman, comes in through the crowd and has the chair, and he's about to bash in MJF's brains. But then Warlow makes the save. After this, they have a sit down interview with good old JR and Brian Pillman Jr. And Pillman's, he has a lot of heart. He could have like a connection with the fans because of how real he is, and how relatable his story is, and the struggles that he had to grow up with. And just seeing this, and I'm like, man, this is as a guy that could be a star. And then, while you're setting up Brian Pillman, to hopefully take him to the next level, you're also sowing the seeds ever so slightly of MJF and Warlow breaking up, and making MJF or Warlow break off and be another big baby face for the company. I'm sure that at least I hope that's where they're going to end up going with it, because Warlow has star written all over him as well. After that, an interview with Tony Schiavone with Christian and Jurassic Express, and I think this is really weird that Christian has interrupted Jungle Boy on multiple different occasions, and um, I wonder if this is building up towards maybe a heel turn or a turn of some sort, or to have them feuding against each other. Uh, it'll be interesting to see. I'm not saying that that's what's going to happen, but I've definitely noticed that Christian interrupts Jungle Boy all the time, and the look on his face is he's starting to really get annoyed by it. After that, we have FTR versus Matt Sydal and Dante Martin. And to me, I love seeing FTR. I like FTR. They're great, good in the ring. And I love seeing Tully all the time, always. But this match just seemed kind of pointless to me. FTR always impresses with the way that they are in the ring and the way that they do things, the way they handle business. Dante for being so young. Dante Martin is so young. I think like 22 or 23, and the way he moves, and I really hope he kind of gets more of the psychology down. But everything he does is really really smooth for being so young. FTR wins with the big rig, of course. Uh, After that, on commentary, we flip over to commentary, and the meme that's been going around, the Suzuki incident. Now, for people that don't know, the Suzuki incident is they cut off Suzuki-san's music. They didn't let it get to the part that everybody sings along at, because they had to go to John Moxley's music, because John Moxley had to have like the big entrance where he was going through the crowd and high fiving everybody and this, that, and the third, and they were really strapped for time. And I really want to kind of go into this, but man, um, They need to get better with their time management. AEW really, really needs to get better with their time management, especially their main events and how they handle commercials. Like, I don't care if it's on picture in picture, I'm not watching it. I'm not. I just, I want to let that be known. I'm not watching it if it's picture in picture. So, the fact that they were so strapped for time, and I thought it was really, um, being there live, I thought it was really like a rush match. I thought it was good. But then when I watched it back last week, I was like, if I would have been watching that on TV, I'd have been like, what is this? What is going on? How are you going to hype this up? Very upsetting. And if I was Suzuki-san, I would feel very disrespected as well. That kind of rolls into the next vignette of Lance Archer and Suzuki. They lay down the gauntlet for Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston the next week. Having Suzuki gun. And man, I hope they just stop them. They probably won't, but I hope they do, man, because Suzuki deserves the win. Like, I'm upset how AEW treated Suzuki. After that was Malachi Black. Looking like dressed like a cult leader, looking awesome. Speaking like a cult leader. You know, the House of Black all rise. We have a traitor in our midst, and then here's Rosaria Dawson. Rosaria Dawson. Like they explained on commentary who she was. Something about TGI Fridays. And I don't know who she is. But Karen apparently, she's probably Brandy's homegirl. And Cody comes out. They're having like a stare down. Malachi's having a stare down with this woman, and then Cody comes out, and then they're about to fight, and then this Rosalia chick just jumps on Malachi's back and like starts to choke him, and I'm just like, what's going on? Why is she allowed to do this? Who is this woman? Why is she allowed to do this? Why? She's like a fan. For one, she's like a fan. Why is she allowed to do this? The security should be all over her. But for two, it's like, why is AEW allowing her to do this? Who is this woman? Like, I didn't like this at all. They fight, and they don't really fight all that well because they're both like too well dressed, and like, so they can't really brawl that well. And they're like fighting up and down the stairs kind of. And then like, who is this Rosalia chick? Like, what is the point of this? I'm when it comes to Malachi Black, it's like every so like they pull me in, out, in, out, in, out with AEW and how they've been treating him since they got him here. Everyone, for a second it'll feel like, oh, he's a dominant monster, heel, and then he's kicking old men in the nuts and having his signature move blocked by Arn Anderson. So, I'm not sure where they go with Malachi Black, and I really hope he beats Cody, but I don't think he will. And after that, I'm pretty sure Malachi Black will be dead. His whole character will be destroyed. Good job, AEW. See, we can't always look at WWE like WWE is always the problem. Now, after that, we have a Dark Order interview with Anna Jay. She recently returned. And Anna Jay, just like me, I think we can agree that we want no part in this really long and awkward breakup of the Dark Order. I don't want to see it. I'm tired of seeing it. It's been going on for a while now, I feel like, and I'm just get it done and over with. I've had breakups like this where it's like on start and stop, and it's like everybody can see it. You can see it. It's coming, and then, but you just can't pull the trigger. Sometimes it's best to pull the band-aid off and just admit, when things have run their course. Instead of just keeping going and hurting everybody's feelings when the writing's on the wall. So, Dark Order, as your friend, it's just not worth it anymore. Number 2 heel of AEW, which is Dan Lambert, and American Top Team with Men of the Year, Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page. He's so great. Dan Lambert's so great because he talks about the shirts be sold, and how you could tell a lot about who's over by what shirts are sold. And he's like, well, all the shirts are sold out, but it's all in like small men's and extra large women. And I was dying from that line. I was just like, damn, bro, harsh. Ouch, 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 ouch. Ooh. Um, and he talks about how stupid the fans are, and that they like these matches where somebody's gonna take them to the top of the rafters and then do pile driver 360 through flaming tables and thumbtacks and shards of glass and Legos and then they're gonna kick out at 2, and I was just dying. I was legit dying because I hate that. If anybody knows, I was not a huge fan of um that Lucha Brothers Young Bucks match for those exact reasons. And I thought it's so funny. It's like he was speaking to me directly. And people who are on my side about that. And I was just like, wow, that is so great. Dan Lambert talks for us all. So after that, Jericho comes out. And these guys are great. He tells them to shut off the music, that they don't know the words to the song, which sometimes they don't. They sang it all right tonight, but yeah, sometimes they really don't know the words to the song. They're all looking it up on their phones. Lambert is just so great at this old man yelling at the sky bit he's got going. You got Jericho asking which one of you is on top about the American top team, so that's really great. We're setting up a match where the fact that Dan Lambert is with Men of the Year kind of already legitimizes them. They're standing in the ring with top flight athletes, and then on the other side is Jericho and Jake Hagar, and Jake Hagar does have an unbeaten record for MMA, and Jericho is a legit tough guy too. He may not be an MMA fighter, but he's punked out the likes of Bill Goldberg and Brock Lesnar, real tough guys. Like, Jericho's not afraid. So he is a tough guy. He's a legit tough guy. And you can never forget that about him. So they're setting up a match between those two. After that, you have this little vignette of the Gun Club where they're like, oh, we're totally undefeated. And I was like, what? That's so crazy. They're totally undefeated, in all their team compositions. I'm like, that's so, and they haven't had a tag title shot. It's insane. So hopefully, if AEW is really about wins and losses, they'll get theirs here really soon. After that, we have Layla Hirsch versus Jade Cargill. Now, this match I really enjoyed it. It was a bit sloppy, a bit rough around the edges, but I really enjoyed it. The contrast of styles was good, the contrast of sizes, and Layla Hirsch is legit. You could tell she's legit. The way that she works, the way that she moves, and Jade Cargill is a star. Like, if you look at her, just everything from her music to her look to the way that she carries herself to her moveset, like, she is a star. She is she's going to be the biggest thing in women's wrestling, I hope, if they do it right, because that's what her potential is, really unlimited. Especially being so green, and these guys, they worked a decent match together. I'm hoping that they continue with Jade, because man, she has got all the potential. She's got all the upside in the world, and I really look forward to seeing her meteoric rise to the top if they have 2 brain cells in their body. After that, a promo with Andrade. He fires Chavo Guerrero. I hope he's bringing in Ric Flair after getting rid of Chavo. So I hope he's bringing in Rick. By the sound of this promo, he sounds like he's flying solo a little bit, but who knows where that's going to go. After that was a segment that I really enjoyed. It was with Punk and Team Taz. Taz comes out. He's like, you took my jab. You took my jab. And then he's like, what? He's like, I didn't do none of the sort. And so they're like, Hook gets up, which I didn't know this. I didn't know Hook was Taz's son. Makes a lot of sense now why Hook looks 12. But I would be excited to see that match between Hook and Punk. And, just watching it, it's like, okay, these guys maybe have a little brawl. And then I'm like, nah, here comes Powerhouse Hobbs coming out of left field, hits him with the sneak attack. They're beating down Punk. And they slam him into the table, the announce table, which is a non-gimmick table. Man, I'm like, ooh, it didn't even break. I was just like, ouch, that had to hurt. So they slam him on the table. And then they just leave him there and set up a match. Punk's first first TV match. It's going to be against Powerhouse Hobbs. I'm really looking forward to that. Um, After that, we have Shawn Spears versus Darby Allin. Now, and I love the chairman gimmick that Shawn Spears have. I love the Perfect 10 gimmick. Now, this is what I was talking about when I said, like, we can't be blaming WWE for everything, because Shawn Spears is underutilized in AEW. He's lost in the shuffle. He's always like the fall guy for the Pinnacle. Having him with Tully is cool, but AEW is not always the land of milk and honey, and for these people, and we should definitely not always see it as such. I'm not the hugest fan of Darby Allin. I think Darby Allin is best when he is forced to slow down and work a different style of match, like he did with Punk. When he's forced to slow down and not be all over the place and all kind of spotty, he sells really well, and I do like him. But he's just he has a lot of growing up to do. And I just hope working with the bigger names will really get him there. So he's flopping around like a fish for Shawn. And Shawn takes off his face paint, which I was like, oh, okay, this is interesting. And it turns around after that, because when Darby wins with the coffin drop, the FTR comes out and they beat the crap out of Sting and Darby, and Tully takes the face paint off of Sting, which is like, whoa, that's a massive amount of disrespect, massive amount of heat. They'll be having a match next week, which I always love seeing Sting in the ring. So I love how Sting just doesn't sell chair shots. That's what's great. Like, Sting is amazing. Like, he's just Sting. He can do whatever he wants. He doesn't sell chair shots. Like, it takes a lot for two grown men to beat him down, even though he's like 60. Whatever. It's Sting. I don't want to hear about it. It's Sting. They have, next is Dana Bryant. Daniel Bryant says that the Elite are insecure because of what they wear, how they dress. I'm just like, how they shoot, ooh, ow, how they dress. You're probably right, but wow, man, how they dress. You shouldn't be like that. But he comes out, and it's Tony Schiavone interviewing Bryan, and before he really gets much out, the ice water enema, as Excalibur calls him, Don Callis and Kenny Omega come out. And Don Callis goes on, attacks Bryan, calls him a carny piece of shit. I will say that, like, they use shit way too much in this promo. I liked it when it was just like when it was just Hangman using it. It's used very seldomly, but they drop it like a dozen times in this promo, and I'm just like, after that, just like, it's just another word. So Don Callis, he's like, oh, you're a carny piece of shit. He's like, oh, but you're not. He's like, you think you're doing this for all of wrestling and for all wrestling fans. He's like, you're actually a mark. And he says mark like it's a bad thing. Like, hello, I'm a mark. Everyone watching this is a mark. Not that bad of a thing. I'm proud to be it. But Bryan tells him to shut up. He's not talking to him. He wants to talk to Kenny. He says, he came here to fight the best of the best in the world. He said this isn't about titles. And when he said that, I was actually really disappointed, because I thought it was going to be for the title. But he said it's not about titles this time. It's just proving who's the best. He just wants Kenny one-on-one, and that's going to be the match, because Kenny ends up accepting it, because he goads him into it. Much to Don Callis' dismay, he goads him into it by poking his ego, basically. You lost your confidence. He's like, you lost the step. I don't think so. He said you lost your balls. Ooh, like, asking for the best bout machine. You're bound to get it, and I hope they have a good match. With Kenny having to slow down a little bit, because Bryan can't work the style that he used to work, and I really expect it to be a good match. After that, we have a small vignette of Miro, God's champion. Great promo as usual, and he says Fuego del Sol's family is going to be grateful for him for breaking Fuego's body and breaking his just ridiculous car. He said, "Oh," I was just like, Miro is God's chosen champion for a reason. After that, Big Money Matt has a little vignette where he wants to shave Orange Cassidy's hair, and I'm just like, whatever. The main event time, Mox and Kingston versus 2.0. Starts as a brawl on the outside, and it's a short match. At least I feel like it's a short match when half of it is during the commercial break. And AEW really, really has to work on that. They really have to work on their time management because it's really, really bad. Really, really bad. It seems like this happens more often than not. Uh, but after the match is when what the main thing is what they should have had. I don't even understand why they had the match when they could have just had the brawl. Is Suzuki-san and Lance Archer come out, and Suzuki-san actually gets his whole song. A few people do it in the crowd, but it's mainly just to beat up, And even the announcers are talking about how Suzuki-san was disrespected, and he really was, because the time management, just the fact he couldn't finish his entrance, that's like the little thing. But the fact he couldn't finish his entrance, the fact that the match was so short, the fact that most of it was on commercial, like, he is a legend, and he was shown a lot of disrespect by AEW during that main event, during that show, and I hope that they make right by it. So Suzuki, Lance Archer, and Mox and Kingston have a big brawl at the end of the match to close out the show. And except for, a couple parts here and there, I mean, I really enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun. I thought it was a fun show. Honestly, a couple of matches didn't even need to happen. The in-ring action was decent for what it was. But most of the segments were really good. And I did enjoy it. And the time flew by. And I didn't feel like it was time wasted. And I can't wait for Rampage on Friday.